Hello everyone, welcome to FPL Jedi Show. It is Gameweek 5 Deadline stream. My name is Hafiz and I would like to welcome Azmin to the stream. How's your feeling coming to this deadline?
Morning. I'm not sure why the international break felt a bit longer, but happy to be back and ready. And I thought it was probably extra longer because this is the first Saturday
Yeah,
deadline, isn't it?
for sure. Normally for the past 4 weeks, the first four blocks we had Friday
Oh,
deadline stream. Okay, all
yeah,
and looks like moving forward is going to be Saturday, which is for sure interesting. This is also interesting. Game week in terms of running team news and presser because we already just finished our first international break of the season. For sure, we are looking at some news coming in. I'm
yeah,
pretty sure there will be some updates, new updates, actually from the managers to share in this streaming. All right,
yeah,
maybe we have a quick take a look at the game week 5 fixture, of
yeah.
which we already shared. It will be Saturday deadline. The first match for this game week will be Wolves versus Liverpool at 7:30 p.m. Malaysian time. And then at 10 p.m. we have five matches, which is Aston Villa versus Crystal Palace. We have Fulham versus Luton Town. We have Manchester United versus Brighton. I think that could easily be the headline for this week. Okay, in terms of teams, Manchester United, Brighton are really on top of that. We have Spurs versus Sheffield United. This is the money ball game. Okay, people are looking at assets from this Spurs team, especially. And then we have West Ham versus the champion Man City. On midnight, Saturday midnight, we have Newcastle versus Brentford. Another interesting match because I think two quality teams. Even though Newcastle had been, they lost 3 games in a row. Okay, for the past three games. So they want to really bounce back, especially up in front of their crowd, and at the same time, fixture swing for Newcastle. That's another thing that we want to mention. And on Sunday, we have two match: Bournemouth versus Chelsea. Chelsea wants to bounce back after their defeat against Forest, and then we have Everton versus Arsenal. Everton desperate for points, but Arsenal want to continue to salvage at the top of the table to continue chasing Man City. And then last but not least, on Monday night, Nottingham Forest versus Burnley. So, I think we jump straight to the team news. We definitely people are looking at wildcarding in game week 5, let's say, and I think Liverpool team could be one of the players that people are watching. So, what's the latest news for Wolves versus Liverpool?
Hang on a minute. Uh,
You have
okay,
an alarm there.
yeah. I had the alarm to switch it off. Okay, so okay, you come. Let's go to Liverpool first. So Liverpool, the biggest problem is they have a few players coming back from internationals, particularly from South America, which is Darwin Nunes, Luis Diaz, as well as McAllister. So that's a question. And I I watched a part of Liverpool's Jurgen Klopp's press conference, and he said he hasn't even seen Nunes yet. So yeah, so that's a bit of a worry. Also, there's also Allison as well, actually. Yeah, so have
Mhm.
not had it as of Friday morning. They hadn't reported yet for training, so that's a bit of a concern there. So it does mean a rejig lineup. So obviously, in terms of the attack, it's not the impact isn't so much because you got Diogo Jota there who and Gakpo, so that's fine. I think it's still okay. We're quite all right. So if you remember last time, Van Dijk is um, after his dissent with the referee. So that's an additional
Okay.
game that he's out for. So it's also a problem. And Trent Alexander-Arnold is also out. So he'll be out for a couple of weeks, I think. So so depending on how they prefer the lineup to be, you could either see Kwanzaa playing at right, or maybe Gomez playing it right with Konate and Matip going into centre back. So a bit, so the worry for us, obviously it's lunch, the early kickoff, which
Uh,
is if you're into that type of um, superstition, yeah. But it's not for me. That's not a concern, obviously. But the main concern is the fact that it's a bit of a reshuffled lineup that they've had to do. So it's not going to be a absolute first choice lineup. So it is a bit of a worry, especially because it's the early match and Liverpool do not have a great record of
Mhm.
Friday early matches on lunchtime. So, but we'll see about that. Okay, so on the Wolves side, no real deal. The Wolves are pretty much okay. It's just again, similarly to um, Liverpool, the problem is the one guy playing from Brazil. I think is Cunha, the forward. So that's the only thing that he has. So we'll see how we go. Everyone else is fit.
Right. I mean, you did mention about South American flying back to from international fixtures. You
Yeah,
did mention about Allison, McAllister, Nunes, and you can see inside the predicted lineup, there is no McAllister or
hello.
even Nunes in the line. So should we particularly worry? You did touch about lunchtime kickoff. Are
Yeah.
you expecting McAllister and Nunes might not feature?
Yeah. So if you look at the the FF scouts predicted lineup, none of them are there, which you can see is a really alarming looking lineup. So they will probably at least very least they be on the bench. And I mean, the main thing is my worry that the output for Salah, it might be impacted. Obviously, Soboslai is there, which is great. I think he's been a great addition.
Mhm.
Gravenberch maybe not yet ready to go into the starting lineup yet. So, but against Wolves, I guess it's a risk that they can take.
Yeah, you did mention about TA. I think another important news because I think TA did not join the international team
No,
with England squad, so he actually still not recover after international break. So looks
yeah,
like if let's say you still have TA in the team, most probably you might move him out, right? Man, you
yeah,
did mention he might be out for another couple of
yeah.
weeks.
So I sold him before.
Okay. Right, man. Before we go to the next batch, would like to welcome to the stream MC Chong. Good morning. Thank you for joining the
Morning,
stream. And also Brian. Morning,
hey,
dudes.
morning, Brian.
All right. Let's go to the next match, man, which is Aston Villa versus Crystal Palace. There also some interest in terms of Aston Villa players. But there is one significant injury from Crystal Palace side. So what's the latest news?
So the main thing for Villa is that those who were previously injured were still injured, but the good Alex Moreno might is almost coming close, but not yet ready. Jacob Ramsey, who I believe is quite important for the team, is nearing return, but again still not yet ready. So the problem with Crystal Palace is Guel is out and Lerna is out. So those two have been ever presence for Crystal Palace. Guel obviously at centre back and um, uh, Lerna in midfield. So if you after scanning the lineups for Crystal Palace, it seems they haven't even Hodgson has kept to the starting line. So this is the first time that they'll have a bit of a shift, and it is a concern because someone like Guel is quite very important to that defense, and so that means that those who have Villa assets, Diaby, Watkins, may fancy their chances at least. So, but when you think about it, Crystal Palace have been doing well, so I think it's the attack that needs to be concerned about, and we know that Villa can concede goals. Yeah, so especially when you don't have Mings as the organizer of that defense, you're definitely going to see some holes there. But of course, a lot of people still have cash. No reason not to keep him because of his attacking returns. But this match could be really interesting. I'm interested to see how it plays out.
Right. I mean, you mentioned about Mark Gill will likely to miss the game, and we can see the replacement is Rob Holding from Arsenal. So just realized he actually moved to Crystal Palace, and we all know what Holding is all about when he actually played. I think when Saliba injury for Arsenal, and after that Arsenal, can I say, lose their chance of winning the league. So we know Holding is not someone that we can trust so much. But another one I want to touch, mate. Johnston is still there. We know Dean Henderson already coming into Crystal Palace. What do you think in that situation?
Yeah, this was a bit of a tough one. I think there's a couple of goalkeepers situations going on this week, and one of them is Palace. And long-time viewers of Jedi Show know that I really rate Henderson as a keeper, so he may not come in straight away, but I think one of Henderson's transfer rumors previously, where he refused to move because he didn't get enough assurances that he'll get into the starting 11. So that is one of his key motivations, and the fact that he's now transferred to Palace, it could be implied that he will, maybe not immediately, but eventually. So yeah, it's a risk for those who hold Johnston, because I personally I do think that Henderson is going to enter into starting lineup very soon.
All right, right. I think we're going to keep monitor this situation. All right. Next up is actually Fulham versus Luton Town. There's a lot of conversation in terms of Luton and Burnley assets because upcoming game week 7 double fixture. But at the same
Yep.
time, if let's say you're wildcarding in game week 5, you should take some opportunity to bring this player in. So what's the latest news for both teams?
Right. So Fulham, you got ex Evertonian Alex Iwobi being, might be seeing him play this first game. Now that he's back, everyone else seems the same. So the thing with Fulham is, of course, the worry is that they are all over the place at the moment. So Marco Silva needs to find the right starting 11. It's not quite there yet. So it's very risky if you're looking at picking your fantasy assets. Although Bern Leno is still, someone that a lot of people consider because he gets a lot of saves, so even though he concedes, so and at his cheap price, its point is pretty good. On Luton, so Kaburi has trained everyone's favorite bench Luton player. So whether or not he'll see the starting lineup, we don't know. So that one is something we'll have to again monitor and look out for. Um, if you look at that Morris coming in, so the thing is with the wildcards going on in out there, quite a few people who have chosen to wildcard this week have
Mhm,
brought in Morris.
mhm,
Yeah, might as well, because rather than wasting a transfer to bring him in later. So so it'll be interesting. This match is, you could argue that it's a match that people will have a bit of a spotlight on in view of game week 7.
okay.
So if Luton fail to score against Fulham, which could happen if Fulham get
Mhm,
their shit together,
mhm.
then it throws the Otto Morris pick into a bit of a doubt. It will, yeah, for those who are planning to get Morris in. So we'll see. Just a little note also, in view of Game Week 7 against. Apparently, Giles, despite playing on 3 weeks, and according to statistics, he's put in more crosses than any other player in the league. So
Okay.
it'd be some FPL wise, it's something to monitor playing on the left there.
All right, man. You already touched in terms of Luton Town players, especially Morris. I think whoever still are not wakading like us, man, Gig 5 and 6 is the one we can call it an audition for this player to
Yep.
actually promote themselves to get them in that into our team. But if they say, I think Luton Town especially, they have really two favorite fixture, away to Fulham and home to Wolves next week. I think these two match, if let's say Luton Town did badly, I think it might not go there. So this is an important two games.
Yep.
Okay. Next game in Manchester United versus Brighton. We really want to know in terms of Manchester United team news, especially off field. We have some players who are still missing, but at the same time, Brighton maybe they also some international players coming back. So I'm not sure. Involving South American players, definitely.
Yeah. So Manchester United hogging the news headlines for all the wrong reasons. So it's really, I think as for Manchester United fans, it's been a really frustrating period. So we know that a lot of players are still out. You got Mount out, Malaysia out, um, Shaw out, and of course Sancho out, and now Anthony is out for different reasons. So you look at reject lineup now. The good news is that Holland, who has been with the team for a while, he looks like he's gonna most likely going to start because Anthony Marshall has done nothing to show that he's fighting for a spot in the starting 11. So there's a lot of question as to how is ETH or Eric Ten Hag going to rejig the lineup in the absence of Anthony. So the lineup that you see there has Bruno Fernandes going to the right wing and Eriksen in the middle. I'm not sure whether or not that's a good thing. I'm more uh, I will probably see um, who's the new guy? Palestri, not a new guy, youngster Palestri to probably
Garnacho,
start.
is it? Okay.
Palestri,
Okay, Palestri. Yep.
Facundo Palestri, I think his name is. Yeah, so he may go into right wing. I think he might because I think Bruno Fernandes still should be in the middle with Eriksen behind him rather than Eriksen as a 10 in the lineup. So it's up in the air. Yeah, but Rashford obviously his best position seems to be in the left, so moving him to right might not be in the best interest.
I mean,
So
do you think that maybe there's potential also Rashford playing on the right and Garnacho start on the left? Left could be. Right.
yes, so that's the question because Garnacho doesn't seem like he can play on the right. So but Rashford moving to the right won't be his best position. So that's why all the talk has been going on. Personally, uh, I do think that what will happen there is probably true because Bruno Fernandes can play on the right. It's just it may not be the best use of resources. Okay, so on the brighter side, Sadie Ferguson has returned to training yesterday. Welbeck should be fit. So I'm when I heard the news about Ferguson, I started wondering, was how serious was that injury when that caused him to pull out after the international break? So if he's at least on the bench, then I think it was not as bad as it sounded. So Ansu Fati will make his debut. So he's too soon. I don't think we know he's had his issues in the previous team, so I don't think you'll even see a immediate start. Um, the only issue is Estupinian for most of us who have him is again he alluded to the long trip made by the South American. So it's an interesting match this, and there seems to be a foregone conclusion um, on the internet, on Twitter, that even though Manchester United have their problems, they're still gonna win this one against Brighton quite convincingly. So I'm not so sure. I feel that
Okay.
this
All right.
do this, and he has the squad who can make it happen. Sure they have international, sure they have Europe to worry about, but not this week. I mean, the Europe match will be on Thursday, and this match is on Saturday. So definitely, you put his full squad out. You won't be distracted, and I do think that Manchester United is going to have some issues playing against Brighton.
Right. I mean, Jezebel mentioned about the long trips by Estupinan, especially because it been owned by around 60% managers. Now, what do you think in terms of Estupinan prospect? Who he'll be rested, or what do you think?
Yep. So as a Estupinian owner, I also have him on my bench. I do feel that he will start and just have his minutes managed. Yeah, because he's quite crucial to that Brighton setup.
He actually
So
played 180 minutes, full minutes
in,
when they're playing
in the
international. Yeah.
internationals, right? Yeah. So we'll see what that is. But I have him on the bench at the moment, to be honest. So
Okay. Okay.
it's yeah, I have a lack of confidence. But that's because I have a decent bench, so I'm not. I've set up my team that my bench can be faced. So
Okay.
I will have a
Right.
lot of bench dilemmas moving forward, but I'm okay.
Right. Next one, the Moneyball game. Spurs versus Sheffield United. We love to hear what Angel Postecoglou has mentioned about his team and also Sheffield United. Latest news. Min?
So all the GLC players, no issues with sorry, what is GLC? I meant Spurs. In terms of did not have the same issues that a lot of other teams have with regard to South American players. I think the only person there was Romero, and he
Mhm.
doesn't seem to have any. There was never commented about him having any issues. Uh, so they fully fit, and which is good because Sheffield United have their own issues. Egan might be a doubt, Baldock is that a doubt, and these are two mainstays in Sheffield United. Aiken especially plays at centre back, so there's definitely got an issue, and causing the mob movement to Sun and Madison to intensify even more. So this is something that
Mm.
it becomes a case of it's becoming a case of FOMO, where
Mhm.
missing out, fear of missing out as far as Sun and Madison are concerned. So it's definitely picking up pace here, and it does definitely look and has me thinking whether I should just join the mob and join in as well, rather than trying to be too different.
I think it's going to be tricky because after this, the likes of Arsenal and Liverpool in the next two matches for Spurs, I think that is the one that playing into our mind. If not, they have a reject. I think it's much easier decision. But good news from Postecoglou that no new injuries are reported. Even though I think we saw Sun pack ice at their knees, but looks like is fine and he could actually continue to play up front. I mean, I think that's the one important thing that people are looking at. If he continue, he scored hat trick in game week 4. That's the conversation right now.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, next game, man. I think particularly West Ham versus Man City, we would like to know on Man City teams. I think Pep Guardiola did mention some key personnel who gonna be not available for this week. So what's the latest news?
So West Ham, David Moyes going all mysterious again, not really specifying anything, just saying that he's got some knocks. So all else equal, I suspect that you will see the same starting lineup as before. That he's been used to great success. Manchester City. So as specified there, you got John Stones, Grealish, Kovacic all missing, and suddenly that City squad looks a bit bare, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So suddenly with all these injured players, and so but of course that means players like Foden, and it's hard not to see them being returning to that side, still starting. Especially with someone like Grealish also gone. They're a bit bare there. So what you see there in terms of that lineup, yeah, I do think that is what's going that what is going to be the lineup we'll get later on. So the question now is West Ham going to do to Manchester City what they've done to Brighton and Chelsea? I'm not so sure that will happen. I think we talked about it a bit in the Monday night stream, and I do feel that City will still have enough quality to push it through. It may not be a overrun, yeah,
Yeah.
but quality is there. But it is a question, especially to those who are, especially with regards to the captaincy, because there's a lot of people thinking that Haaland may not do as well here, and there are better options elsewhere.
Okay, I think owners of Foden and Alvarez could actually comfortable think that their player will be play. If people thinking about getting them in, also I think can safely say that they might actually start this game. I still remember Guardiola, okay, actually one of the highest transfer in. I think somewhere game week 2 or maybe game week 3. Um, he actually missed game week 4, and Ake who actually could come in. So I think there's could potentially some risk there. But
Mm.
in terms of defense, if you never know who's going to be nailed. Sometimes Diaz could miss. But Walker already signed a new contract, an extension of contract. So he should be continue to be the captain of the team, right? I mean, so I think he could be actually one to to consider if let's say you want
Yeah,
to pick
but
any.
he's so boring as a fantasy pick. So just to keep on clean sheet and not much else. So yeah. Anyway, that's all I got to say on West. Yeah, on Walker.
Okay, next game, man. Newcastle versus Brentford. We know the situation of Newcastle. They want to bounce back. It's also an important the next 4 games out of fixture because they're going to start playing in Champions League, man. And there's a lot of attention in terms of fixture swing for Newcastle and people thinking about bringing in any Newcastle asset in. So, what's the latest news for both teams?
Okay, so with regards to Newcastle, so the injury that we had, alarm that we had for quite a few in terms of before the international break was Botman. So he's been back in training and actually could be available. So that's some good news for um, Newcastle there. So the unfortunately the bad news that Tonali is a doubt, and we know that Tonali has been quite a useful addition to the Toon lineup since he was brought in. So in his absence, you're likely to see Longstaff there. So with Newcastle's mixed bag results, um, will we see more changes to the lineup? Obviously, you have Gordon there starting, but Harvey Barnes could just as easily start.
Mhm,
So it'll be
mhm.
interesting to see what Newcastle do because they're also in Champions League for the first time in ages. So they have a squad that they can rotate and manage, especially
Mhm.
even in the front that Wilson or Isaac. So it's really tough to invest in these assets right now because we don't know what Newcastle will do. So, and maybe this week isn't the best week to start with Newcastle. Obviously, a lot of people talk about how Newcastle's defensive stats are great, but they are against Brentford, who have been scoring quite a decent rate, and inform Mbuemo and Wissa are there. So, coming to Brentford, nothing really,
Okay.
no changes really, except that Neil Maupay, that that consistent
Yep.
underperformer. So impact sub at best. So we aren't going to see any changes to the Brentford line.
Yeah, this definitely an exciting match. You did mention Botman back in training. He should start against Brentford. But another good news mean for Newcastle fan is Callum Wilson signed a new contract, 1 year extension up to
Nice.
2025. So means that he commit to the club. He'll definitely chop and change between Isaac and Callum Wilson, but there going to be a lot of competition this year for Newcastle. All right. Next is actually Bournemouth versus my club, Chelsea. So this will be interesting match. This is a London derby. We would like to know what's the latest news for both team, especially there's a lot of frustration in terms of Chelsea assets from last week. They lost 1 year to Forest. They already itchy to move them off
Yeah.
for the next Spurs assets, right?
Okay. So Bournemouth, the thing with Bournemouth is that even though they can score goals, so it'll be interesting to see. But there's a few players like Ryan Frederick, some who have been quite useful previous in the past have returned. So we may see some changes in the lineup. But either way, it's a bit tough for us to bring in any Burma players regardless. And we do have a lot of us have tripled up on Chelsea, and we're looking forward to this match. You've got uh, well, okay, the consistent injury problem. Reece James is out. It's confirmed that he won't be ready so soon. Hopefully next before the next international break. I'm gonna call it now and say that it'll be after the international break. Let's just promote it. So anyway, sorry. So Bronya has returned to trading. So this is obviously of interest news to fantasy because of Jackson owners, but it's already been stated that it's still too soon. So it's still not likely to ready. So Jackson's place is relatively secure. Unduk Unkunku long term absentee also definitely not going to happen. So Enzo is ready. But so I don't know what that means, but he can immediately go into the starting lineup. Of course, that predicted starting lineup has Cole Palmer, our recent Manchester City addition there. So it's a bit up in the air there. But of course, Cole Palmer is brought in to score goals. So he's a striker. So we'll see what happens there. Um, Everyone's favorite mob pick from Game Week 4, which is Raheem Sterling. He was been well rested during the internationals, so you would expect him to see. And of course, of note is that Chelsea lineup still has Chilwell playing
Mhm,
up top
mhm.
there. So yeah, it's a bit of some redemption for most Chelsea people who had triple out Chelsea. They need this to have the returns that they want. So we'll see if that happens or not. We don't know that happens.
Okay. Just a recap. I think three important things that we want to share. Racing James continue might not be available until the next international break, as Mehdi mentioned. So the owner of Gusto should comfortably play him. Okay, that what I can say. I think the first note. In terms of second one, I think Chilwell is another frustration player because he continue to be sub up around 60th minute. We gonna continue monitor this. If this pattern still continue, or even somehow rather Chilwell did not start, I think this going to affect in terms of transfer players for upcoming matches. The third one, this lineup put Palmer there, but I'm not too sure he's going to start. I think Gallagher should be more settled in terms of ni, and I feel Gallagher should start uh, over Palmer, and Palmer should come in later. But that's the predicted lineup for this game week.
Yeah.
Okay, next game in Everton versus Arsenal. Okay, a lot attention definitely from Arsenal asset, but there's a lot of movement in terms of getting Arsenal asset out for Spurs players. But it's against Everton, who has been not in the best form, I can say, but they're playing at home.
Yeah, Everton have already conceded one goal each in each of the two home matches. Although to be fair, they weren't teams in the top 10 that they were playing against. The biggest news for Everton, biggest news, I say that very carefully, is that DCL could start. So Calvert Lewin starts, and of course, if he does start, he can score goals. So that's not the situation. So it's just a case of whether Everton can find this shit, because Sean Dyche is in a lot of pressure at the moment. So let's see how that goes. Uh, that's the only injury relevant news FPL wise. On Arsenal, so during the international break, there was sudden news about him carrying this niggle that he's been having on his leg, but also forcing Mikel Arteta to reply that he's fine. He's been having these issues for quite a while now, so he was happy that Southgate didn't use him much during the internationals, so he was quite grateful for that. So yeah, so no real significant aside from Partey also still away. So it is a problem. Although let's remember that again, the problem is the Brazil players. So you got Martinelli, Gabriel, and but the good thing is that Arsenal only play on Sunday. So
Yep.
that's an extra day that they get rest. So you would
Yeah,
think that
even though Gabriel did also another player who played both 90 minutes game in, but this is a Sunday match.
yeah. So they should be fine. So it shouldn't have any impact lah. So let's see how that goes.
I mean, do you think with Partey out, is Gabriel place is secured in terms of, because there's around 20% Manchester State own Gabriel like me.
Yeah, pretty much. I think you guys don't have to worry anymore for now, and in a way, I think a lot of Arsenal fans are kind of happy that Partey is out, because so Arteta can't do his nonsensical experimentation anymore, and especially for someone like me who has Ben White, I want him restored at that right back position, because that's where he did so well last season, FPL wise. So yeah.
Alright, Rita lineup showed Eddie Nketiah starts because maybe Jesus flying back, but Jesus barely featured. It same like Martinelli, I think, in Brazil. So I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
he could actually start this game.
Yep, definitely. Oh,
Okay.
sorry. Just one thing about Arsenal. One last thing is about Trossard. So Trossard has talked to Arteta about not getting enough game time, but right now he's been told that don't worry, with European matches coming into, so Trossard is going to come in. So we don't know it'll be for the UCL immediately or for Premier League. It does put players like Martinelli in a bit of a risk.
Okay. A touch bit non-FPL in terms of Everton, because I think there's a new owner, or they call 777 partners acquired full stake in Everton from the owner. So maybe that could actually steer moving forward in terms of different ownership, different
Yeah,
how they're going to approach the game. So maybe that's something interesting for Everton fans.
true.
Okay.
They need to survive to January first.
I mean, last but not least, Nottingham Forest versus Burnley. I think we already talked a lot of. There's also interest in terms of Nottingham Forest assets. So, what the latest news for both?
So as per the tweet, Danilo's out, and Oria and Langa will need to be assessed. The good, again, when it comes to assess, so the good thing is that it's 2 extra days to the other team. So I
Mm-hmm.
think Aurier will return to the standard lineup. That's fine, and Elanga as well. So there's no Johnson anymore because he's at Spurs, but that I don't think he'll be missed that much. On the Burnley side, so Burnley is not as much in the spotlight as Luton, so no issues there. The main thing with Burnley is the problem with the fixtures. It's nowhere as good as Luton's on paper. But you do have Foster there, and Foster, we know he's quite a valuable to that
Okay.
team, and he's actually scored more goals than Morris, but people don't aren't talking to him as much about him as much. So we'll see.
All right. I think this will be also interesting uh, fixture for at least for the next two, because Burnley also is also audition like Luton Town, but they face
Yep.
tougher match. Can I say Forest and then Manchester United?
Yes.
Let's see.
Yep.
So I think they are on a tougher road, but clearly, if let's say any Burnley assets perform, it will actually make managers like us to pay more attention. I think one news that I think we just want to share about Turner. Actually, his wife is actually giving birth, mate. So, but this is Monday match. I'm not sure whether that's going to affect, but there is something, a development that maybe we should be just aware. That worst case, manager like us, Pickford, going to play for our team, right?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's going to be a problem. So it depends on what type of husband he is, and uh, what type of wife he married. So it's hard to tell because we've had cases where they were away for the birth of the child, but we've also had instances where they still played and where they scored and
Okay, all right.
celebrated. Yeah, celebrated the birth of the child by scoring. So
Oh, wow.
but
I'll
of
be
course,
surprised if Turner take any penalty against
Turner
Burnley
won't
game.
score, obviously, but he might celebrate a penalty save. So yeah, there you go.
Oh, okay. All right, all right, all right. Okay, mate. I think we already covered all matches. We are going to
Yeah.
see about the top transfer in and out for game week
Those-
5. All right, the top 5 transfer in. There is no surprise, man. The top, oh, can I say from the top 5, 4 of those players are from Spurs. Maybe there are a lot of wildcarding done this week, but I'm not sure. Son is topping the table with 724,000 managers. Has bring him in. His ownership already increased to 13%. And for Madison, continue to attract attention. Okay, with 672,000 managers brought him in. Madison has slightly more ownership, I think 26, 27%. Okay, and then we have Alvarez. Maybe you did mention in terms of forward lineup, we are scarce in terms of players. Alvarez might continue to play because KDB is still unavailable. It's so reflect in this table. So I think Alvarez is number 3. Then we have Romero and Udogi from Spurs defense, who completes the top 5 transfer in. In terms of top transfer out, well, would you be surprised? Nick Jackson is the number one people are getting out. So people are getting frustrated with Chelsea assets. Even though he got 7 points, gave it 3, 1 point only gave it 4. So means that he's out. I think maybe the likes for Alvarez who's coming in for him. We have Joe Pedro continue the traffic mate. I think no surprise, but maybe for that kind of price, Morris it could be the like for like replacement. We have Isaac out. I'm not sure about Isaac. Newcastle have a feature swing, but the thing is, in terms of placement, Isaac and Wilson definitely going to share minutes. We saw another one, and then Botman maybe Botman because of the he actually yellow flag before this, but he's actually back in training. So what do you think about this transfer traffic?
So no surprises for Sun Madison. It was that's really kicking up pace. And by today, if Sun suddenly jumps to 100K, I wouldn't be surprised in the least. Alvarez, there were some initial concerns about him playing in was it Bolivia or Peru and at high altitudes.
Mm-hmm,
But
mm-hmm.
apparently, the opponent were at one point they were most of the time they were playing with only 10 men, and so it wasn't really as exerting. And Alvarez didn't get as much time anyway, so no issues there. Romero is on the back of his because he is the top scoring defender, so not a surprise. and Udogi also Spurs. So that's four Spurs players there. Although I'm going to call it now. I don't think I expect Spurs to win, but not keep a clean sheet. So you're hopefully relying on attacking returns there. Okay, so on the transfers outside, yeah, a lot of people losing faith with Jackson, and I do get it. And the thing is, he's not showing enough maturity in front of the goal as well as in terms of his play. Sure, he's getting into the right positions, but he's not being calm enough. That's something he needs to work on. So I can see him being sold, especially for, um, well, surprising is for Alvarez from the looks of the pattern. But I'm sure there are some who've gone for Morris as well, um, as an option.
Yeah.
Then you have Pedro being sold, and I can tell you now that I'm one of those who finally got rid of my Pedro. Isaac, yeah, it's just a bit of uncertainty. I think people held on to Isaac for so long because they are probably those who had him from the first week and where Isaac scored 2 goals. Yeah, so they
Yeah.
finally got rid of him to strengthen elsewhere. We saw as a bit of a surprise because Brentford's matchups fixtures are quite good. So maybe or it may be just a case of them needing to free space, and contact with having Umbremo. And Botman, yeah, so that one I think was off the back of a lot of injury news at the start, and now that he looks like he's again, that might have
Mhm.
been a mistake for people transferring him.
All right, man. I think, like you mentioned, Jackson, yeah, true, it has been frustrating, but the fixture is still there. Unless you feel that you lost faith, maybe you move
Yep,
on. For the likes of maybe Alvarez, could be to an extent Watkins or Morris.
yep,
But this is a game of patience, man, right, man? So we just never know. I think if Chelsea, I said, going to continue frustrated against Bournemouth this week, I think there's will be a lot more traffic next week, man. I think so. Okay. All
okay.
right. Let's go to Scout picks for Game Week 5. Final selection from Fantasy Football Scout, who are featured for the best team in Game Week 5. We have Leno in goal. We have Cash, I think, Aston Villa versus Crystal Palace. Palace missing Gal. So Cash, if let's say he continue to bombard it on the right wing, so maybe Cash could be the option, 4.7 million, I think. Chilwell still there. Udogi over Romero, and then we have Zinchenko away to Everton, right? So at least there's Arsenal representative there. We have Saka in midfield, so two Arsenal there. We have trio of Spurs as admin, Madison and Son. We have Salah away to Wolves. Yeah, in terms of we want to consider which Liverpool asset Salah would definitely number one. I think Gibbs White, Forest versus Burnley. Maybe people were thinking whether Awoni should be in this team, but Gibbs White make the cut, and we have Haaland up front. So what do you think me about this selection?
Well, firstly, it's interesting that you do have Leno, but then with all the talk about Morris or bringing in Morris early, but there you have Leno in the final selection. Anyway, Gibbs White, yeah. So Gibbs White is a bit of a. I guess there must have been some statistical in terms of movement and that I'm not aware of, because I do feel that if I wanted to pick a Forest player, it would be Awoni. Yeah, because he has been really consistent and has been doing quite well, and he did well against some tough sides at this in the first 4 game weeks. And this week he's facing a newly promoted side in Burnley. He could really, I could see him potentially hauling. Um, the you got Zinchenko in that starting lineup, but then you have Arsenal have looked a bit shaky. If anything, I would probably put Gusto instead of Zinchenko. Yeah, simply because we haven't seen the best Arsenal team yet. Um, I think if it's a case, because maybe I'm coming from a bit of bias because I have Gusto, but Madison and Son double up. Yeah, I think that's following the popular picks at the moment, and yeah, it makes sense. This Spurs a informed side against a newly promoted side, so definitely that's good. Yeah, I think no issues there. I'm a bit worried about Salah, whether he will return his value, because but
Mhm.
I'm not so sure with Salah.
Yeah, but in terms of Liverpool asset, I think the first name we will definitely pick is definitely Salah, right? I mean, over the likes of Darwin, we're not sure he's coming back from the international matches. What else? Luis Diaz, Thiago Jota, you just uncertain, right, in terms of their stats.
Yep.
Gakpo, I don't know if you want to go Soboslai. I think it's still under radar. Okay. And if let's say without TA inside the team, I think Soboslai could actually dominate in terms of free kicks,
It
corners. Like.
yeah, it is. It's just the problem is that midfield slots. There's so many so many viable options at the moment. So and Zoboslai is quite new. Yeah, so we'll see.
Mhm. All right. Man, let's go to our team pick, man. I think we have let's go. I think let's go to my team first. Okay. So I think we already ran our team in our midweek stream. For now, I'm gonna play Turner over Pickford. I think in terms of defense, Estupina, Udogi, and Chilwell. I think this is something that I need to consider, especially Estupina. Maybe he actually coming back from a long trip. So and away to Manchester United, their kickoff at around 10 p.m. Right? So
Yep.
maybe still playing on Saturday. And if let's say Gabriel more certain, if I have more news in terms of that, maybe I will play Gabriel over Estepinian. But in terms of attacker return, Estepinian has better stats over Gabriel for sure. And Manchester United, like Azmi mentioned, are not really in the best condition because they have like on and off field situation. So that's a situation that I'm still monitoring. In midfield, I have Rashford, Mitoma, Bruno Fernandes, Saka, and Bomo. And then up front, I have Nicholas Jackson, Haaland. I have no intention to move Jackson anytime soon. I'll give him another game, okay, away to Bournemouth. Hopefully, he perform. It's something that I'm going to take next week. Uh, do I want to bring any Newcastle assets for now? Maybe not yet. But in my mind right now, I want to take advantage of that Spurs versus Sheffield United game. They call it Moneyball game. So maybe Madison of Sun is a more attractive move to get in. Okay, I think in terms of medicine, I have in the bank 2.4 million. Could easily get medicine, no issue. But if I want to get Sun, I'm short of 0.2 million. And that means with only one free transfer, I need to take a hit. It's whether I take a hit downgrading Gabriel or even downgrading Pickford to a 4.1 million RLFA or Gabriel to 4.4 Botman. I could do that. But is it worth it to get San in if I'm not captaining him, say? So my thinking right now is getting Madison in. He has more potential in terms of score and also assist. In terms of involvement, shots, he has more than San. Okay, fair. He's more creative than San for sure, but it's a close. When I study actually in terms of free kicks, direct free kicks, San take more than Madison, and Madison taking more corners for sure. He took like 17 corners for the past 4 games. So that's my thinking right now, man.
Mm. So Sun. So you said the start statistically, Sun has taken a lot of free kicks as well.
Direct free kick means that maybe
Direct.
if
Oh,
let's say
direct free
yeah.
kicks.
So maybe a front of goal, maybe somewhere just outside of the box, he will take it. But if they say Madison will take it, that
Okay.
what I have seen from stats.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's a decent move to go for a Spurs player. I'm not gonna deny that, even though I don't have any myself. But who are you selling again? Who are you looking to sell?
I think
Mitoma.
Mitoma. I think
Yeah.
Mitoma because Brighton got to play Manchester United. Fair still can be decent next week again, but in the long run they will face the likes of is it Chelsea, Man City. There's a lot of tough fixture coming up, and one more thing, Brighton going to involve in terms of Europa League. So we just never know. Maybe in the easy match, this player might be rested, right? So I don't know.
All right. All right. I generally agree with you on the Brighton thing. It's just that for Brighton, I do feel that they being undervalued a bit just for this match alone. Yeah, I think
Okay,
that
fair,
moving forward,
fair.
yes, long term wise, yeah, it's not a great to have Brighton players, but for this match, I think that they can take Manchester
But
United.
I think people can still argue. You bring in Madison. Next 2 games is Arsenal Liverpool. So maybe Mitoma could actually perform better
Mm.
So it's going to be a close call, but I think in terms of like for like, I think Medicine is a greater asset than Mitoma in terms of at least, and Spurs are actually on fire right now, so maybe I should take advantage. I think maybe that is the remote. I'm going to be aggressive here. I think you're not going to see a lot more two free transfer I'm going to keep. I think already planned for the next 1 month movement. Okay, can I
Okay.
just share with everyone that I think
Uh,
if I make a move for Medicine here, I'm going to have two Spurs asset because I'm going to have a my view in game week 8 where Spurs going to play Luton Town. So you have get in one of the Spurs asset in now. Then next week maybe one of the defender of Newcastle because Spurs going to play tough matches against Arsenal, Liverpool. I need some defense cover. Newcastle could come in. I might not have money for Trippier, so Shah or Botman could come in next week. Game week 7, double game week. So Jackson, if let's say continue not perform, Morris or Forrest could come in for game week 7. Then game week 8, the game week 8, I think people already mentioned in other content also they mentioned Arsenal going to play Man City that week. So Saka could easily be signed in game week 8. I have triple Spurs player against Luton in game week 8. And then we're going to close for the another international break. I think I'm going to take that. Hopefully, there's no major issue or major injury coming up. So
yeah.
that's my plan.
Yeah, I know. I know the issue with Spurs is the upcoming fixtures after this one, but picking up one more player is fine. I just don't. I think triple up might be too much for players. So yeah, yeah. So yeah,
Okay,
Spurs player
right,
Madison.
man.
Yeah.
Let's go to your team. I know you already made your move, but this the
Okay,
midstream lineup.
no problem. So first change is that I've moved White to the starting lineup for Estupinian in view of the doubts of issues in terms of traveling late. I don't think that it's big of a deal, but it's enough to. But I do like where White in his current position, and Gusto is should be fine to play. So White Chilwell Gusto is fine. So even though, despite what I mentioned about Brighton being able to do well against Manchester United, but in the end, I still think Estepinian is a bit of a risk to start. So White goes in the sideline, and secondly, I have sold Pedro and brought in Awoniyi. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
uh, so Forest against Burnley. So I'm very confident in this one, and I know the issue with Forest is obviously the fixture issues, but
Okay.
I'm comfortable because I have a decent bench. I can rotate my bench, and I can have Archer can come in for home
Yep.
matches,
Yep.
um, and so for Archer, I've actually moved him to the first substitute spot, because I think if anything, I want him to be the one who comes in because I do feel that he can score against Spurs. Spurs are not defensively perfect yet. They did concede two against Burnley
Okay.
last time out. So yeah, so that's my reasoning there. So I still have money, and the question is, who do I bring? Do I want to save that transfer because all my midfield five are still good, or do I want to bring someone else? So if I believe the theory that West Ham are going to be able to hold off City quite well, then maybe I'll sell Foden and bring in Sterling. Sterling, who 1 week delay compared to the rest of everyone else because of being Sterling, I might do that. Or I could also sell either Martinelli and Rashford and bring in Salah now. So the issue with I was quite strong in terms of thinking to bring in Salah from last Sunday, but that resolve has weakened a bit in the view of Liverpool's team news, uh, players returning, and also a record about Liverpool not doing well in uh, lunchtime matches as well. Yeah, so that is an issue, and and although I wish I had for this match I wish I had Fernandez instead of Rashford, because I think Fernandez thrives in this kind of pressure pressure situation. Um, so if but at the same time, I'm finding it hard to sell Martinelli because I did keep him for a reason over Saka, because I think with Gabriel Jesus return, Martinelli could thrive. So that's why I've held on to Martinelli instead of Saka. So if I sell Martinelli now, then whatever I thought in the previous game week, I just threw out the window. So
Do you
most likely,
consider the likes of Sun? See,
no, I've decided
no. Okay,
really
all
not
right.
to. Okay. To be fair, I'm still considering Madison. So it really,
Okay,
if I'm reselling it for Madison, it will most likely be for Foden or Rashford. Yeah, but Foden is the more likely, given Rashford actually has good matchups after this one, better matchups as well. I think
okay.
they play. I can't remember, Burnley or something next week. So yeah, so that's my plan. Uh, I'm gonna be. I'll admit it's gonna be hard for me to keep yet roll over a transfer for yet another week. It's gone into total
But
unsleepy
that could
jet
be
lag.
an option, right? Nick? That could be an option, right? Roll and transfer.
It it could be an option because that midfield, I feel, yeah, it's an option. I don't deny it.
Yeah. I just read out in terms of Man City fixture. I mean, West Ham this week, next week Forest, and then game week 7 Wolves away. So means I still have decent matchup, and if they say he continue to play, Foden could still be someone who can offer value. Uh,
Yeah, but
Eze is
I
still
guess for
there,
me, I
right?
don't. Yeah, I guess I don't think that the Forest matchup is as simple as it looks. That's the other thing that's making me thinking of selling further.
Okay, fair. It's going to be dilemma for sure. I think any road you go is nothing wrong with it because
Yeah.
you already have discerning, and particularly
Okay.
when see Crystal Palace asset Eze, maybe Villa, but next game week again Fulham at home. So yeah, I don't think I'm gonna do that. So it's gonna be tricky. Okay, man.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You continue to think. We still have time to do that.
Yeah.
Uh,
I guess with Foden is the case of because obviously he's not the main man in Chelsea, in Manchester City, and as a result, I feel that he's a bit more because if you look at Eze and Buemo, to an extent, Rashford and Awoni, Haaland, they're all main man. Martinelli, not so much. So Foden, not so much the main man. So that's why those are the guys I'm looking at selling.
all right, man. I think just a quick one in terms of our FPL Jedi League. Just want to share. Of which let me check. The top of the table right now is Smart 17, is it? By Mizan Nordin. He is a Liverpool fan, man, right? So here you did point out he actually wildcarded last week and being awarded 105 points. You can see his team on the right side. He has triple Spurs player. Udogi, Madison, and Son, 20 points there. Yeah.
Yeah.
No surprise he has Haaland, but another potential good one also Zuma with 11 points there. So another double digit there. He has Salah, he has Ward-Prowse, Antonio, Saka, decent side. Especially this week against Sheffield United, I think this Spurs asset gonna be useful. All right, but I'm not sure about the West Ham players. He has three against Man City this week. He has Onana in goal. Still, not someone who gonna play. It's gonna be risk, but Onana against Brighton still decent, I suppose. He's now total 306 points in our league. So other than that, okay, close fight. We have top 10 there, Lai Chikang, Chukok from Plekong FC, FPL Futi Bera in fourth place, Abeng I, RX, Abeng C, Kulmanas FC, Kama Ransit, okay? And we have Abeng F also. There's a lot of teams there. So what do you think, me? Our first spot right now, Mizan Nordin team.
Okay, firstly, well done for wildcarding, and amazingly because he got Saka in before the haul. So he's bucked the trend. So well done to him. And looking at his lineup, you'd be forgiven for thinking he's a West Ham supporter, except that when you go to his team, it's that he's clearly Liverpool supporter. So it's a it's a bit of a thing though. But um well done because he did wild card. So my worry is that bench of his looks light. Yeah, you got
Yeah.
Steele, who has been being rotated by De Zerbi. Ketia, who's nowhere a first choice. Baldak fine is unfortunately got injured, and I don't even know who that guy is. I'll tell you. So
Okay.
it is a worry moving forward, and then of course you have the likes of Antonio. You know, you think that Antonio, you'd expect him to keep performing, being part of West Ham upsets across other stronger teams. Yeah, but he's tripled up on Spurs. So yeah, so definitely this
Mhm.
week he is his prime position for this week to profit. Yeah, and also the other thing, of course, is that he has Salah. Yeah, so he's brought in Salah. So I guess that's why the bench is in that state because he needs the money to be able to afford Salah. So
All
yeah,
right.
Salah
So,
could hold for him. Yeah,
right. Okay, good stuff. Whoever that we would like to welcome, if let's say you haven't joined our FPL Jedi League, the code is there, ZA9F60.
yeah,
So you can actually come into community and join our stream. So, Min, I think let's go to some question for sure. We have Rakan FPL here posting some
yeah.
question. We take it. Is Sun essential? What do you think, Min? Coming especially this week and moving forward.
Given that I'm going without him, I'm gonna say no. It's not. Maybe I will lose out this week, but I feel that the matchups are a bit too risky for me to bring him in because if I do bring him in, obviously he needs to start. He's not like a Gusto who I can bench. At the price. So yeah,
It's going to be tough, but it's like we mentioned, Spurs versus United, the morning ball game. If you're captain Sun and if you explode another hat trick, I think people like us are going to suffer. Next game is play Mbomo or Estepinen. I still feel I'm going to play Mbomo. He has
yeah,
more potential. He has on penalty. Newcastle still tough side, but Manchester also away. It's not an easy road for points for Estepinen also. That I think we're going to play Mbomo.
yeah. I'm going for
Right.
me.
Azmin, this for you because you did mention we Henderson come in. Johnston, is it a sell or we should monitor?
Well, yeah, it's a monitor case, and I think you should sell. If you have an extra transfer you don't mind, yeah, I think you can do it now. But I strongly believe that Henderson is going to displace Johnston from the starting lineup.
All right, betul betul betul. So it's Whitehall finally come this game week, particularly for you, man. Away to
Double digit,
Everton.
Rakan FPL, double digit.
Uh,
That's my
I,
hope.
how many times you already start White so far? I mean,
I've started
oh,
him twice and benched him once for the wrong in the
okay,
wrong
okay,
time.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
I think if I have White, I'm gonna play him
To
this
be
week.
yeah, to be fair, I was close to selling him after seeing Partey start for 2 consecutive weeks. But now that Partey got injured, he's a keep.
Right? If you have option, you have this Johnston Pickford combo. You gonna play me this week? Pickford home to Arsenal, but Johnston away to Villa.
Pickford simply for the saves. Yeah,
Okay. Okay, Palmer good punt this week. For me, Palmer, we are not sure they're gonna start. I still feel they're gonna start over Palmer. It's still a monitor thing unless we are certain Palmer start from the beginning.
Kabir as a sub. That's why I think.
If I'm getting Sun, who to make way? This is also a good question because Asmin also has this dilemma. The like of Sterling or Martinelli, both decent match. Bournemouth and Everton, both, however, they play both away.
I'll sell Martinelli just on the basis that Everton at home look a bit more stronger than Bournemouth at home.
Okay, if that's the option, if I'm going to answer, I think if let's say you can roll, Sterling and Martinelli still have decent fixture. Unless you're gonna captain San, maybe you do it. But if not, I think Sterling and Martinelli still have some decent match this week. Jackson Seller will regret their move this game week. Well, based on for the past 4 weeks, he has been a frustrating asset for sure. But well, against Bournemouth, we just not sure whether Jackson, but the stats still there. And yeah, if they say he scored, maybe he's going to frustrate. But it's depend on who you're going to bring in. I think if you bring in for Alvarez, still a better option. Right? What do you think?
Yeah, it's a better option. So I don't think they'll regret the move. Yeah, I think Jackson's a bit too raw.
News: EPL fixture alternate with their hard Champions League fixture. I think Wilson will get the league game. I said we get the cup game. So this one also I need a Newcastle fan to answer this. I mean. What do you think?
I have no idea. Honestly, yeah, I do not know what have happened with this Newcastle. If you want me to provide opinion, I'd say it'd be the other way around. I think Isaac gets the league and Wilson gets the cup.
All right. Last but not least, there's rumor that Sterling might play number 9 position. I'm not sure. I haven't heard such news. Could be Jetson bench this week. I don't think so. I think he's going to start.
No, I think Sterling will continue to play. Okay, so I think one of the reasons why this kind of question came out is because they lost. They did lose to
All right.
Forest the other day. So will there be a rejig in the lineup? Yeah, so I don't think so. I think they treat that 1-0 loss as an anomaly, and they will keep playing the current way they are playing.
All right. Okay. Ras Van Saravanan, morning, bros. Morning to you. But we are
Morning.
almost wrapping up our session. Okay, but thanks for joining in, Min. Just a quick one, Min. Our Gameweek deadline will be at 6 p.m. today, Malaysian time. And we are, if you're here, do hit the like button and subscribe to FPL Jedi YouTube channel. And you can click the notification button to receive any early news in terms of when we are going to live. So your last word, Min.
Well, enjoy. Welcome back to the Premier League, and welcome get back to FPL after a 2-week break, well, a bit longer, because now the deadline's on Saturday. So all the best, and if you know, there may be early game news, but don't wait too long. And all the best for this week, and may all your arrows be green arrows.
Right. Good luck to everyone. Thank you for watching. Okay, and hopefully you did your best in terms of making your decision. May the force be with you. Thank you again, and see you in the next stream. Bye bye.
Bye.